So today I'm going to talk to you again about not 5 ways, but 6 ways. 6 ways we can take our potential marketplace and have it, and then have it again, and then have it again, and then have it again, and then have it again. Kind of like building a network marketing organization, like building a 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 person organization, and then getting divorced and cutting it in half, right? And then getting divorced again, and then getting divorced again, and then getting divorced again until you have nothing. Until, as I say in the title, you have a very small team of foul-mouthed bigots. And here's how you can do that. So this is about class and character. It's about class and character, and it's also about being real and authenticity and just something to think about. So, I'm going to talk about 6 things that I myself am guilty of doing, probably all 6 of them. And the difference is that I endeavor, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I endeavor to separate business and honoring other people and respecting other people from my own personal discretions, digressions, bad habits, laziness, and lack of character, which I, of course, have plenty of, like all of us do. And so the subject is, like, when we're building a network, when we're building any kind of business, think about, so people do business with people that they trust, people that they like being around, people that they admire, right? So if you stand up in front of the room, if you're on a Zoom, if you're on social media, and let's say, for example, number 1 is you choose to use profanity. So that's like how you try to get your point across, how to be authentic, perhaps, how to have emphasis, is you use profanity. I use profanity. I cuss all the time. None of the things that I'm going to talk about here are moralist things where I'm telling you this is the way you should be and how you should act, and anybody who acts less than this is something wrong with them. I swear all the time. But you know what? I don't swear on social media. I don't swear when I'm talking to people in front of the room. I don't swear when the role I'm in is to maximize my influence, maximize my impact, maximize my service to humanity, and maximize my business. Why don't I swear in that platform? Because it halves my audience, at least halves my audience, with people that don't appreciate it. Like somewhere between don't appreciate it to it horribly offends them. So it just makes sense. Like, why do something? It's like, I didn't add it to this because it's so old school and passe, but smoking is one of those things too. If you smoke around people, you offend them, right? Some people get sick if you smoke around them. If you don't smoke around people, you don't offend anyone. And so I want you to listen to these 6 things that I lay out and think about this one question. If you do these things in public, in your public marketplace, in where you're looking to build your business, to have impact, to build your reputation, to build influence, you offend people. Some people you violently offend. Some people just don't appreciate it. In either case, you end up potentially having your marketplace. So, but think about this. If you do these things, you offend people. If you don't do them, you don't offend anyone. So if you take the number 1 of profanity, if you use profanity in your marketing, in your business persona, in your social media, in front of the room, you offend at least half of the people in the audience. If you don't use profanity, the people like me who are sitting in the audience that actually cuss, we don't sit there and say, I'm just horribly offended. He hasn't dropped one F-bomb in an entire presentation. I mean, I can't stand being around this. I need more profanity. I need more profanity from the front of the room and on social media, right? That never happens. You don't offend the people who actually can tolerate what you're doing. It's like, if you smoke around people, you horribly offend them. If you don't smoke around people, you don't offend the smokers, right? So that's one, is profanity. If you use profanity in your business, you're going to lose half your marketplace. If you, what's number two? Number two might be not expressing your beliefs and your convictions, but ranting about your beliefs and convictions religiously. Like ranting from the standpoint of everybody ought to believe what you believe. And I certainly respect everybody's right to claim their beliefs and own their beliefs and express their beliefs. And there's a line that you want to pay attention to that you can cross when you move from expressing what's true for you to moving it to what ought to be true for everyone else. And I can just give you an example of how ugly this can get and how destructive it can get. And if you study world history, folks, if you study world history, the history of war in the world, you can tie it all to religion. You can, not from people expressing their own beliefs, but looking to impose their beliefs on other people. That's the history of war in the world for the last, 1,000 years, maybe more, right? But here's a classic example. I had a guy on my team once. Unfortunately, he's not on my team anymore. Like a high-level networker. And I spent about a year personally recruiting another high-level networker that lived close by in the same town. And so the second high-level networker was ready to join my team, excited about joining my team, and had a database of followers, like really powerful followers, of about 250,000 people. And for the first time ever, this second networker was going to join the business and go influence his network to join a business and build an empire in network marketing, right? Pretty good find, pretty good guy to land in the business. Took me about a year to get him to the table. So I was going to partner him with the first networker because they lived in the same town and they're both high-level networkers. So I set them up to go to lunch together. And the second networker used to be a minister, used to be a preacher. And, true to form, before lunch, he asked the other networker, can we pray over our food? Now, people have done that with me, and I just, I'm not a devout Christian. I don't pray over my food when nobody's looking. But if somebody asks me to, I do. Why not? It's fine. It's okay, right? It honors them. So the first networker says, I can't pray with you. Second networker's like, whoa, why not? First networker says, because you're going to, I don't know if this is profanity or not. Maybe I'm being a hypocrite. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But anyway, the first networker says, I can't pray with you because you're going to hell. Second networker says, wait a minute, I'm a Christian. I'm a minister. What do you mean I'm going to hell? Because the first networker was of a particular religion that apparently believes that if you're not of that particular religion, even though you're a Christian, you're going to hell. So my guy that I spend a year developing, sitting there going, wait a minute, this is a guy you want me to work with? This is a guy you want to be my sponsor? This is who I'm going to do my events with? A guy that just told me that I can't pray with you because you're going to hell no matter what? Because you're not of my religion? Hello. So, that's just an example. The window, so this second networker was the window to 250,000 potential network marketers. And then each one of those network marketers is a window to, thousands of other people. That one lunch could have eliminated, $100 million a year worth of business in network marketing. Thousands of lives changed, right? Over close-mindedness. And so the second one is just pay attention to the impact you're having over expressing your religion. Now, I'm not suggesting in any of this rant today that your network marketing business or your business ought to be more important than your personal beliefs. I'm not suggesting that at all. If profanity is more important to express to you than the business that you'll lose from doing it, then do it. I know people that do it. Tony Robbins does it. He feels dropping the F-bomb is more important than at least half the people that he's going to lose by doing it. He has a right to do that. It's his business, it's his revenue, it's his loss, it's his gain. And if it's more important to you to be authentic around that particular point than it is the business that you use, then do it. Just do it with being clear about what are the consequences. So if it's more important to you to take a position like Networker 1 took with Networker 2 to express your religion, then of course go ahead and do it and recognize the impact you're having on your business. Like you're going to have it, and then you're going to have it again, you're going to have it again. So that's 2, profanity and religion. A third is politics. I have really strong political beliefs. I'm a U.S. fervent conservative environmentalist. We don't have a party. So, but you know what? I don't go on social media and rant about my political convictions. I could, if I decided, what's more important to me is to push a political agenda into my marketplace, into the people that I influence, which of course is going to alienate half of them. Half of them aren't going to listen at all. Half of them already agree with me. So what's the point? Which is why I don't do it. But if that was more important to me, like if my life was about some sort of political ambitions or political influence or trying to change the very few people who may change their mind about politics, maybe I'd spend all my influence and all my airtime doing that. But I don't do that. Well, I don't do it for 2 reasons. One, I know the people that I might look to change their perspective. I'm not going to change their perspective. They're dug in. They're going to stay dug in. And that's not what I'm up to in life, right? I'm up to influencing people and educating people and inspiring people to do something extraordinary with their lives, like manage their life, not try to manage a company or a country or manage a political party or manage the world or manage the universe. My mission is to inspire people to manage themselves, like be the change you want to see in the world, right? If we all changed who we were. So that's where I choose to put my influence and my marketing message and my airtime. And so if I rant about politics in that same airtime, I have my market. Make sense? So the 4th one is alcohol. And you could even add drugs to it. Now, I drink occasionally, not much. Maybe, I don't know, a glass or 2 of wine a week or something like that. Maybe a beer a week. And I'm not judgmental about people that drink every day. I'm not judgmental about any of this. I have so many bad habits. I've done so many horrible things in my life that I don't judge anybody for doing anything. This is not about judging people. This is about business. This is about building an empire. This is about influencing people. So, if you line up 100 people, of course, it's going to be different. I'm down here in Australia, and I notice a lot of people really love their bubbly, they call it, or something down here. People love to drink down here in Australia. It's kind of cultural. And, maybe if you're in New York City, people drink. And so it might vary by community and geographics, like how much people drink. But the reality is, if you look at 100 people, a cross-section of America, it may not be half, but you're going to find a high percentage of people that they don't drink. And I think you could easily get to half of America or North America and maybe half of the world that if the way you approach drinking is like it's a college sport again, well, there's at least half of the population, they don't appreciate that. Somewhere between they don't appreciate it to it offends them. And I'm talking about, every time you're doing something with people, you're drinking. And it's not just a glass of wine, not just sort of a socially acceptable. It's like 3 or 4 glasses of wine. And then after the meeting, let's go to the bar and let's pound a few more and let's get home at 2 o'clock in the morning. And, the crazy thing about alcohol is you have one drink And then you decide whether or not you're going to have a second drink, except it's a different person deciding to have the second drink than it was the first drink. It's a sober, intelligent, rational person deciding to have the first drink. It's not the same person deciding to have the second drink, right? It's impaired slightly, which leads to the second drink. But then who's deciding to have the third drink? Impaired, right? Who's deciding to have the fourth drink? A drunk. This is for you, Tom Chenault. I'm ranting on alcohol here for you. Oh, hey. So, you know, if you bring that into your business, if after the meeting you go to the bar, if you're always talking about oh yeah, last night we were out drinking and hey let's go to the meeting and then let's go drinking and you bring something like pot or drugs into the conversation, I'm just telling you, if you're out to influence people and build an empire and change your economic future, you're costing yourself like half of your marketplace by bringing alcohol at that level into the game. And I'm not saying you don't ever have a glass of wine at some kind of home event. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about drinking as a sport mixed with business. Really, really bad business. Really bad business. And, some of you are probably saying, well, what about the MLM wine things? You know what? Sorry to offend, but just about the stupidest MLM concept on the planet. And I'm sure I'll have some people defriend me or write hate mail here. But really, getpaidtodrink.com, come on. Is that a product that's going to be around 50 years from now? It just doesn't uplift. It doesn't serve. It doesn't serve the network marketing industry. It doesn't serve you. It halves your marketplace and halves it again. Not enough rant on that. Boy, rarely do I go off on a particular niche in network marketing, but I did right there. Bring on the hate mail. And number five is what would you call it? Sexual innuendo. Usually goes from men to women, but it can certainly go from women to men. So it goes a lot with alcohol, right? But it's flirting with people in business. It's saying suggestive things. It's saying derogatory things about the other sex. It's saying demeaning things about the other sex, all the way up to hitting on people. Just that whole culture. What does it lead to? It dishonors your spouse for sure. It dishonors half the people in the audience. It leads to massive destruction and literally halving of your empire that you built, because it can lead to divorce. Just that whole classless, lack of character part of our business. Don't bring it into the business. You want to tell a joke, or you want to flirt, you want to tease, whatever. I do it. Just don't do it in business, right? Set it aside. And number 6, I knew number 6 before I started. And anyway, I'll probably put number 6 in the comments because I can't remember it. So, but here's the concept, folks. Just remind yourself of this, that these are things that if you do them, you offend at least half your audience. If you don't do them, you don't offend anyone. Think about that. And then think about every time you do one of them, you have your audience. So if you use profanity in your speaking, you have your audience. If you add drinking to excess like a sport to your business, you may not have it again, because the people that appreciate profanity might appreciate all of these things. But then if you bring in your religion at a ranting level, you could have it again. But there's a compound effect that I want you to think about. And the compound effect is that this is a geometric progressive business. So it's not just you that you're impacting, because if you eliminate half of your audience, then you eliminated your 100% of your second generation from that audience, 100% of your second generation, which eliminated 100% of your third generation, which eliminated 100% of your fourth through 20th generation. You're not just eliminating the linear people sitting in front of you that are listening to you, you're eliminating the potential. Remember my story about networker number one and networker number two? In networker number two's case, we eliminated 250,000 potential customers and distributors, which may have only ended up being 2,500, but we eliminated all 2,500 of them and all 2,500 of whoever they would have got involved in the business. This is geometric. This progresses. This compounds. This isn't just having your market. It's moving potentially 50,000 people on your team down to 500. 500, angry bigots on your team. Is that what you want? And then think about the global aspect of network marketing. This isn't a United States business. This isn't a Canadian business. This isn't North America. This isn't Australia, New Zealand. This is over 200 countries around the world, 200 cultures. How many religions is that? Right? That's probably 200 different religions, 200 cultures, 200 standards of how people behave and what their tolerance is, different beliefs, different perspectives. So if you want a global business, if you want a huge business, you can't afford to have your market, folks. You can't afford to offend people with your lack of class and your lack of character. And I'm not saying that just because you have these bad habits, you don't have any class and you don't have any character. What I'm saying is, in the business platform, you act like you don't have character and you don't have class. You may have it, but you don't act like it. And I know we're all guilty of it. I have swore in front of the room on a rare occasion, and I'm not proud of it. I have told stupid jokes. I haven't ever ranted about religion, I don't think, but we're all guilty of this to some degree and together. So I trust that you will trust me enough to know that I'm not like being righteous with you. I'm just pointing out a huge piece of our business that we leave on the table because we're just not thinking. We're not asking ourselves what's more important. And if you do ask yourself what's more important, ranting about my religion or business, and you say ranting about my religion or politics, then you know what? You have my total support. Total support, of course. We should be using our influence to further whatever is most important to us. And there's consequences, right? And we just have to be okay with them. So, thanks for listening.